EGM Network.
This is Martha Matters. From real estate, healthcare, current events, taxes, or just about any topic, we're talking about it. Call us with any questions on just about any subject. Now, here she is, Martha!
Well, hi there, and welcome, everyone. We have a lot to discuss. We probably won't even reach it all, but I really want to emphasize this country needs unity beyond anything that we even thought of before. What does not create unity is when people make up fictitious names like calling Trump a dictator, a Nazi. If there's anything that is not democratic, let's face it, it's Kamala Harris getting to be presidential candidate without a single vote from the Democrat Party. A coup decided her election, just like they do in Russia, in Cuba, in Venezuela. Let's not make up stories on people. You can say something derogatory like Pocahontas or something else, but to actually pass on that nastiness is not called for from either party. There's no such thing as unity when out of the same mouth you called Trump a Nazi. It's unfounded. It's certainly farther from the truth than their own party is. And stuff like that has to be eliminated in every election from both parties. That's number one. And number two, I see all the upsettedness that the Democratic Party has about closing the border. First of all, immigration is liked and encouraged by the Republican Party, but the difference is they're vetted before coming into this country. That makes a big difference. We want people with new ideas, hardworking, a desire to move up. I am sorry to say that in my personal case, my parents earned more money than my grandparents. I earn more money than my parents. Now, with our grandkids, we don't see them earning more money than the rest of us. All of a sudden, the last 4 years, we were going the other direction, where people were losing money, and the new youngest members of our society can't even afford a home yet because of the high mortgage rates, high prices, and yet their salary only went up by 2 or 3%. That is so sad and needs to change. And that's why we have just about a landscape victory for something different. Kamala Harris actually lost the election, in my book, when she said to a reporter, "What would you change as soon as you became president?" And she said, "I can't think of anything I want to change." That was it. Because the last 3.5 years, the majority of people who are raising a family, like a family of 4, husband, wife, and 2 kids, they literally had to eliminate vacations, have all they can do to get enough food on the table, which went up not 10, 15%. Nationwide, it may be 20%, but to isolated stores, it's even 30 or 50% on some items. That is unworkable. And for a family of 4, don't say Bidenomics is working. everything's getting better, inflation's going down. Inflation stayed up there. What it is the rate of inflation may have been reduced from higher numbers, and even double digits may have been reduced to 2 and 3%, but that is totally on top of the original 20% that it went up when Biden took office. The people have to look in both parties, and the Republicans are now doing it, and I'm praying that the Democrats do it too, because we need two strong parties, that they look at the issues as the real problem instead of throwing words like racism, gender bias, and all this nonsense. Historically, we've had enough women in office, of accountable offices, including presidents of corporations. We're past the days of the 1950s, and the Democratic Party shouldn't go back to 1950, pushing woke and all black people need to be subsidized because they're not equal. We've had gorgeous, fabulously accountable black people, Asian people, you name it, all kinds of religions, all kinds of East Indians, Arabs, you name it. If they're capable, they've made it to very important places, whether it's a doctor, lawyer, governmental positions. Let's face what we have today, not what we had in 1950. And let's stop the nonsense of calling each other biased, prejudiced, racist. Yes, between one and two people or one or two families, some of that may still exist. But the overwhelming majority of people seeking employment and betterment have that opportunity. I'm sorry, but they do. The problem is both white and black people who come from poor families are not motivated to get a better education, to get a job skill, and to do better. That is where our problem exists, with laziness of all nationalities. We want people who are accountable, who look forward to doing better than their parents did, or at least as well, and have visions of a really bright future and want their children to be bright and successful and someone to be proud of. It is plain and simple. That's what this voting was all about. You can't make a priority issue of something like converting sexes in the prisons and make the public pay for it, public tax dollars. You cannot, absolutely not, throw money at people who have committed crime and let them back out on the street. Defunding the police has not worked with anyone. Most Democrats want police. Most Republicans want police. Let's get our act together where we're accountable, responsible, hardworking, and want to improve ourselves. I'm going to repeat this over and over again, and we did not have it the last 3.5 years. That is also witnessed by outside countries. When I get into what's going on in the globe, the reason people are taking a chance of fighting us is we come across as a pussy willow. We don't come across as wanting peace through strength. Trump has not taken the office yet and has warned Putin about increasing the war in Ukraine. And believe me, that has got to stop. If Biden had only said things like that and was able to back it up with accountability, the Ukraine war would have been over long before now. But the people who represent hatred to America want to get away with all they can and play the game with a pussy willow. And I hope everybody sees that. We need somebody who's strong, and that should not be mistaken for not being kind, not being thoughtful, and not being a good person. You can be all those things and still be strong. The best example is going way back to Reagan, when he said to Gorbachev, look, I appreciate you wanting to make your country a democracy rather than a dictatorship, and I'll be glad to help you. But it's got to stop with getting rid of the Eastern Bloc nations under your Iron Curtain. And Gorbachev said yes. Well, 3 months later, absolutely nothing had changed. And then finally, Reagan said, open up that Berlin Wall, the Brandenburg Gate, open up the paths to Eastern Europe, and do it all now. Get rid of the wall. Well, that's not a dictator, not a Naziist. People sometimes need an ultimatum, including myself. When facing certain issues, you don't escape it by saying, oh, let me think about it a while, and then forget about it. If you're given a good opportunity, if you're given a stiff challenge, face it now. Now. Do not waste the time, no matter what is at stake. And the same goes for politics. If you want to end a war in Gaza, end it now, but only with the condition that all those hostages are totally released. Don't say stop the war, and meanwhile the hostages are still there. You've got to have strength to have peace. You've got to have strength continually to be accountable and quickly think over what is the right thing to do, even in our individual lives. I was so saddened, and it was such a mistake, hearing something about an individual life. A husband and wife are getting a divorce. Why? Because one is happy about voting for Trump and one is sad about the Democrats losing. It is sick when you put politics before your love life, your future, the happiness of your kids. None of them are ever happy when a husband and wife split up, but it may be the lesser of two evils in some cases. Why is politics number one? And I criticize Schumer for this. We all know he's Jewish. We all know he grew up in a very religious home and was religious himself for a while, and even happy that Trump moved the capital of Israel from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, which is more appropriate. I can't believe Schumer put politics for staying in the party above all his beliefs, above his faith, and above all of the country of the United States, second to doing whatever the far left wanted. I'm very, very disappointed in him. And he's hoping that everybody forgets everything, and in 2 years, when he's up for re-election, that he gave up from his faith, his family, his country, for the sake of staying on the correct side, I should say, because right means something else. For staying on the left side of his party above everything else, including his way of life. Shame on him. And those who claim to be staunch Republicans, staunch Democrats, that shouldn't affect who your friends and family are. You can have differences of opinion. That's how good this country is. But family and friends are supposed to have a basic love that surpasses all these other issues, completely surpasses income levels and everything else. If you have a love for your family and friends and everyone you come in contact with, just about, you are a successful person. And so on that note, we will take a break, but we'll be back in a few minutes. I want to introduce you to our main sponsor, Highland Plaza, located on US 1 on the east side of the Highland Drive traffic light. We even have our own left-hand turn lane. One of the places in there, the first one on the north side, is Easy Stop, and you will be surprised what competitive and beautiful prices they have. You should give it a shot. Also, Tony's Hairstyling Salon is ideal for the entire family at all ages. He and his wife have run a salon there for years with a huge following. Also, we want to tell you about La Taberna Restaurant. It has the freshest Mexican food in town and a well-experienced chef. You will be most surprised not only by the food, but the reasonable prices. Also, I want to tell you about the nail salon. It's Luxury Nails. Let me tell you, they do everything, both for walk-in clients and appointments. Appointments are really appreciated, but they treat all clients professionally. Now, I want to repeat to you, this is located on US 1, just east of Highland Drive at the traffic light. It's a beautiful yellow building with a maroon awning. We look forward to seeing you there. Come on over.
If you dream of creating a home that embodies sophisticated island living, visit Sunshine Furniture during our Tommy Bahama Home for the Holiday sale. Bedroom, living and dining room, home office, media, and occasional pieces, Tommy Bahama Furniture is distinctive and unique, yet inviting and comfortable, and is all on sale now. We're also having a huge Black Friday closeout sale on patio furniture, indoor sofas, chairs, occasional tables, and dining sets from Berlin Garden, Windward, Telescope, Lloyd Flanders, Four Seasons, Capri, Universal, and more. Also, all pictures, lamps, and accessories are half price, and don't forget to visit our outlet and sales center across the street. Sunshine Furniture, 1295 US 1 in Vero Beach, next to Planet Fitness. Visit our website at sunshinefurniturecasual.com and hurry in today for our Black Friday savings.
Sunshine Furniture, the best in every way. Have a sunshine day. Sunshine.
Big news, Treasure Coast. Your favorite mortgage team just got even better. Introducing the same trusted faces you know and love, now with Union Home Mortgage.
Hi, this is Shannon Pohl.
Hi, this is Lucy Cranker.
And these high-producing team members bring decades of experience, unwavering honesty, and hearts of gold to every home loan. And here's the best part. Same local processing, underwriting, and appraisers you rely on. Contact Union Home Mortgage.
Visit us online at shannoncpohl.com
and lucycranker.com.
Hey, you! Host your very own show every week at Evergreen Media Network in Vero Beach. Go live to YouTube and Facebook with up to 4 people and your very own producer. Be heard on more than 15 podcast platforms and local radio. All you have to do is show up and talk. Your guests can join from anywhere in the world. It's easy to get started with the largest podcast studio on the Treasure Coast. Contact Evergreen Media to tour the studio.
Hi there, welcome back. Hey, I just want to close with a couple of other ideas. Number one, we all know that before this election, the Democratic Party wanted to increase the number of people in the Supreme Court and fill them with making the Supreme Court a yes man to their agenda. To a small degree, but it was very obvious with this, every time a new court employee is, a new employee is put into the Supreme Court, yes, Republicans would like a couple more. Yes, the Democrats would like a couple of more. But I gotta tell you, there is something magical about the Supreme Court that I want to see kept. You may go into the Supreme Court as a Republican or a Democrat, but somehow or other, they all get completely changed and make the Constitution number one, and they don't care whether they say no to a Republican or no to a Democrat. A good example recently, Jackson, who was put into the Supreme Court by the Biden administration, was in complete agreement with the others that abortions should be done as a state decision, not a federal decision. Has nothing to do with being pro or anti-abortion. It just means that decision should be made at the state level. And they acknowledged we have very different types of state and state influences, just like the weather is different, just like the employments are different. So I really want to see that steadfastness of the Supreme Court justices to be unified and make the Constitution the number one choice. It's ruled against Trump. It's ruled against Biden. That doesn't make them no good. They are doing the right thing, being an independent check and balance. And I think it's a beautiful miracle that once they all become court justices, originally Republicans and Democrats, they all think the same way after a while. It was a unanimous vote, not by party lines, a unanimous vote of the Supreme Court to make abortion policy a state choice. So on that note, let's keep it that way. Let's not go changing our system to socialism, communism, dictatorships, or anything else. We have had a democracy where checks and balances of 3 different branches of government keep an eye on each other, and it has been more successful than any other country in the history of mankind. We're beyond 250 years of being successful. Please, folks, let's keep it. It's not one party or the other party. It's 2 parties, which is part of our checks and balances. So on that note, have a great week, folks, and we'll see you next time.